The ocean begins where certainty ends. Stand on an empty beach at night. Look toward the horizon. Beyond that thin black line lies the same mystery that haunted humanity for thousands of years. For most of history, no one knew what waited beyond the edge of familiar waters. The sea was not simply empty, it was alive. Or at least people believed it was. Ancient maps were covered with giant serpents, dragons, impossible whales, and creatures that could swallow entire ships. Some looked like snakes with human faces. Others had wings. Some had dozens of eyes. Many had no names at all. Why would respected scholars draw monsters onto maps meant for kings, explorers, and merchants? Were they simply making things up? Or did they know something we have forgotten? For nearly 2,000 years, maps were not only tools for navigation. They were collections of everything people believed about the world. Facts lived beside legends. Measurements shared speeds with myths. No clear lines separated science from imagination. To understand why, you have to imagine living before satellites, before airplanes, before telescopes powerful enough to reveal distant worlds. Even crossing a nearby sea could become a one-way train. A sailor might disappear forever. No letters returned. No survivors came home. The ocean erased evidence. When someone vanished, stories filled the silence. Fear became information. Rumors became geography. And monsters became landmarks. The Greek historian Herodotus described
rumors became geography. A blank stretch of ocean was never allowed to remain blank for long. Someone always had a story. A merchant claimed to see glowing eyes beneath the waves. A fisherman described a creature longer than his entire village. A captain swore that an island had moved overnight. Each tale traveled farther than the sailor who first told it. With every retelling, the impossible became believable. This wasn't foolishness. It was survival. Historian Chet Van Dusen, who has studied medieval maps for decades, found that many illustrated sea monsters served as warnings as much as decoration. A dragon might mark dangerous reefs. A giant fish could represent waters known for massive whales. A serpent might warn sailors about violent currents. The picture looked mythical. The danger was real. One of the most famous examples appears on the Carta Marina, created in 1539 by Swedish scholar Olaus Magnus. The map is filled with enormous whales, sea serpents, and terrifying creatures surrounding Scandinavia. To modern eyes, it looks like fantasy. To 16th century sailors, it looked like practical advice. Avoid these waters. Respect the sea. Come home alive. Not every month.
Then, something unexpected happened. The monsters began to disappear. Not because people became braver, because they became better observers. The 15th century launched an age of exploration unlike anything before it. Portuguese sailors pushed farther down the coast of Africa. Spanish expeditions crossed the Atlantic. New trade routes connected continents that had lived apart for thousands of years. Every successful voyage returned with something more valuable than gold: reliable information. Cartographers compared journals from different captains. They measured coastlines again. They corrected old mistakes. Areas once filled with dragons slowly gained islands, bays, and accurate shorelines. Knowledge replaced decoration. But the change was gradual. Even during the age of discovery, myths survived beside measurements. Some explorers still reported impossible creatures. Others described giant birds, cities of gold, or fountains that were worth aging. The unknown continued to attract extraordinary stories. The difference was that evidence slowly became more important than reputation. One careful observation could erase a legend that had lasted centuries.
the scientific web accelerated that process.
Centuries from now, people may look back at us the same way. They may wonder why we were so confident, why we believed we understood our planet, why we assumed the biggest mysteries had already been solved. Every map is a snapshot of knowledge, not the finish line. Even Google Earth cannot reveal every cave beneath the ocean floor. Satellites cannot see through kilometers of seawater. Robotic submarines explore only tiny fractions of the deep. Every expedition returns with new questions. Sometimes the strangest discoveries are completely real. In 1938, fishermen off the coast of South Africa caught a fish believed to have vanished 66 million years earlier. The coelacanth. Scientists thought it would disappear with the dinosaurs. Instead,